Welcome to Rob Schmitt Tonight. When Americans voted Donald Trump into office, they voted for massive change. And we're now starting to feel the turbulence that comes from such change. It is both political, it is also economic. The markets tanked today. Investors worried as Trump works to reimagine the American economy and our foreign policy economically. Massive government cuts, tariffs, and the mass deportation of cheap, illegal American labor. All of that is instability, and Wall Street hates instability. But it is important to remember as you look at the markets that as most Americans were gutted by inflation these last 3 years, those same markets as indicators were skyrocketing. So perhaps stocks need to take a nosedive so the working man can get a little relief from all of this inflation. Most Americans have little engagement with Wall Street, maybe a modest 401k, which at this rate will cover a few years of their retirement if they're lucky. Right now, Trump is attempting to reimagine our entire economy because it's not working too well when you really think about it. If this plan works, labor in this country will cost more as workers see better pay, less outsourcing and fewer illegals plunging the pay scale. Deportations could also bring relief on home prices as well. Less demand for housing means the price of housing goes down. All of these that I just listed off are bad things for Wall Street. Every single one of them is bad for Wall Street, but they are great for Main Street. For the past week, the administration has warned us that something like today was coming.
Tariffs are about making America rich again and making America great again, and it's happening, and it will happen rather quickly. There'll be a little disturbance, but we're okay with that. It won't be much.
There's going to be a natural adjustment as we move away from public spending to private spending. The market and the economy have just become hooked. We've become addicted to this government spending, and there's going to be a detox period.
Going to be a detox period. The American economy and Wall Street have long been subsidized by massive government deficit spending and the printing of money. Americans have been gutted by the same thing, and the top has gotten insanely rich. There's been so much excessive wealth created in the last 4 years, you cannot find an exotic car or a wristwatch at a retail price. There aren't enough toys to satiate the rich, while the rest struggle to afford the food that they eat. The price of a starter house in this country has doubled. Kids coming out of college are looking at renting for the next 50 years. The American dream is disappearing. Who can afford a $500,000 house when they make $15 an hour? These are all symptoms of the globalist agenda. America destroyed the working class so we could all buy cheap Chinese crap at Walmart. Maybe the market being down is a sign of progress for the forgotten American. The instability extends beyond economic, though. It's also political. Over the past few days, the rabid left has taken to destroying Elon Musk's electric car company because they hate him and what he's doing so much. Such pawns for the machine that they're destroying a product that most of these people dreamed of owning 1 year ago. Smashing dealerships and even personal cars on the street. They're attacking people driving around in Teslas on the street. The same hippies who once hated government now getting arrested as they valiantly try to protect its interests. How easy these losers have been to subjugate. Think about that. The left is in chaos mode. Take a listen to a trans singer at a Bernie Sanders rally over the weekend.
Does your God have a big fat? 'Cause it feels like he's f***ing me.
That's at a political rally for the Democrat Party. How many Americans now identify with the Democrat Party? If your major positions are protecting the government from audits, continuing a war in Ukraine forever, and ensuring that biological men can continue to eviscerate women in sports, then that is now your party. There's not too many people that want those things. Jasmine Crockett is now the new de facto leader of this idiot parade. Somehow she's an attorney. Take a listen to this.
They continue to say things like the illegals and that they broke the law coming in. But what they're not telling the American people is that it is a civil violation. It is not a criminal violation to enter the country illegally. It's not a criminal. It's a crime. It's not a crime.
That's an attorney. So she tells us. It's not a crime to enter the country illegally. That's so weird because it always was for the longest time. I don't know when that changed. And they want us to think that DEI is not a problem in law school admissions? Give me a break. Over at MSNBC, the fury at Elon Musk and Doge turned into this while covering the explosion of a Starship rocket late last week.
Why did they let him put this rocket up in the air after they were still investigating the last explosion?
Well, see, this is the thing. Okay. My suggestion for Elon, his response to all of this was rockets are hard. And Mr. Musk, if they're so hard, why don't you go back to your day job and work that out?
Did you guys see the tweet from Representative Jasmine Crockett about this?
Oh, yes. Please.
Who is it the guy that keeps blowing stuff up literally and figuratively is firing people claiming that they are failures?
Do you understand why big NBC is kicking MSNBC out, throwing them out, get away, detaching from that? That is MSNBC today. That's former RNC chair Michael Steele right there. RNC chair. A guy who's so bad on TV he could only get a job as a reformed Republican on MSNBC. The exact same grift that Nicole Wallace used. Oh, I'm a Republican, but I've seen the light and now I'm a Democrat. No, you just suck at TV and you needed a job. And as the left continues to push chaos rather than an actual agenda, their minions harassed our vice president while he was home for the weekend in Ohio. This story is actually incredible. The harassment was so bold at J.D. Vance and his family that his young daughter actually got scared, really scared. Vance, though, seeing that, still engaged and attempted to appease the mob by speaking with them, trying to give them rational thoughts on Ukraine, continuing what has been the shocking transparency of this new administration.
We're forcing both the Russians and the Ukrainians.
Right here, wrong saddle.
Exactly. They certainly invaded Ukraine in 2022. But there needs to be a sense. Ma'am,
we are the aggressor every time.
Ma'am, I understand that that's your view, and certainly they have, and certainly I have condemned, ma'am. Please, you're interrupting. I'm speaking with you, and I'm trying to be respectful.
The same dumb hippies that fought against the Vietnam War are now fighting to stay in a war in Ukraine. And what incredible transparency. I mean, can you imagine if you were harassed, stalked and harassed, and then you go talk to the people? You don't have to talk to them. Those politicians don't talk to anybody. This administration talks to their worst enemies. It's the exact opposite of the last 4 years, as the Heritage Foundation reports that it found that Joe Biden not only didn't ever talk, but hardly ever signed any of his own presidential documents. Quote, we gathered every document we could find with Biden's signature over the course of his presidency, all use the same auto pen signature, except for the announcement that the former president was dropping out of the race last year. I guess he had to sign that one. Remember Speaker Mike Johnson telling us this story?
Sir, why did you pause LNG exports to Europe? Like, I don't understand, liquefied natural gas is in great demand by our allies. Why would you do that? He looks at me stunned with this, and he said, I didn't do that. And I said, Mr. President, yes, you did. It was an executive order. And he goes, oh, you talk about natural gas. Yes, sir. He said, no, you misunderstand. He said, what I did is I signed this thing we're gonna conduct a study on the effects of LNG. It occurred to me, Barry, he was not lying to me. He genuinely did not know what he had signed. And I walked out of that meeting with fear and loathing because I thought, we're in serious trouble. Who is running the country?
You know, everybody's reporting the same stories, the same spin. You turn the channel, it's always the same. But not us. We're different. We report the real news. No spin, just the facts. Turn to us, and you won't turn back.
Tune in to Rob Schmitt tonight on Newsmax.